Tim, I'm sure you see it a lot too. There's really two major patterns when a golfer comes to us and when they're struggling. And far and away, I see the most is that over the top club head getting outside the target line, wiping across it this way with an open face. The most common pattern I see is they take it too far to the inside.
Mm-hmm.
From here, the only place they can go is above that. They get too far above it, and there it goes, off to the, starts left, weak out to the right.
Yep, doesn't go very far.
See it all day, every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, you hit the nail on the head. They're getting that club well too far behind and getting stuck, and that's going to open up the club face right away in the backswing. And from there, what they're doing to try to get the club back to the golf ball is all in a quick attempt to recover from that mistake. So, when I have a player that comes over that's dramatically over the top, I talk about club face control right away from the takeaway. Mm-hmm. Keeping that club face in line with the golf ball as it moves away from in the backswing. Keeping the hands outside the hands, absolutely, yep. Because now they're going to be able to get into the proper pivot in the backswing. Mm-hmm. They can deliver the club from the inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see this all the time.
Absolutely.
Right? And to me, like to your point, the more I take it to the inside, my forearms do want to work that way. And all of a sudden, here I am, and I'm open.
Yeah.
And I'm with you as far as going to the club face first, because I'm pretty sure that if we videotaped everybody's first golf swings, they didn't have the club outside the target line coming to the ball, because that doesn't make sense initially.
Right.
Until they start seeing the ball curve left.
Right.
And I think there's a disconnect with their knowledge of what the club face is doing.
100%.
So now, if I know the ball's going to go over there, I'm no dummy. I'll just swing it this way.
Right. And I think a lot of players, not to cut you off, but I think a lot of players have a misconception of what impact is about. Mm-hmm. And how, that over-the-top path to the left is going to accentuate that curve to the right. They misunderstand impact physics a little bit.
Yeah, and the other thing too is once that pattern is established, now you're stuck.
Yes.
You can't have the club face get square.
Right.
Because now things, it's going to go 80 yards left. So this is really the one of the few times where I get somebody that, because they say it all the time, well, you got to get worse before you get better. I don't buy that a lot of times. With fixing this pattern, though, there's going to be some pretty bad shots.
There's going to be some struggle because it's that habit that's been ingrained and reinforced, and they're going to have to really be disciplined and dedicated to making the change, and it's not going to come overnight.
Yeah. So again, I might strengthen a grip. I'm almost always going to find that player is wearing a hole in their glove here,
sure.
So I get the grip more down in the fingers, and as I'm looking at it from here. You see that picture all the time where that leading edge, that bottom groove is straight up and down.
And players think that's a square face.
Right.
And it's not.
And I always tell them, look, if that leading edge is at 12 o'clock, we want to get it over there about 11.
Yeah. I always want to say, when I'm looking from the down line perspective, do that again for me real fast. Yep. So the camera can see, I want to see that leading edge. I like to see that right in line with the player's spine.
In the spine.
And, and if those two lines are parallel, I got a square face, and now we're building the proper pivot.
So on a camera view, I'm the same way. I'll draw that line, ear to hip. There's your spine. There's the club face. From the player's perspective, I like that 11 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then in the forward swing, I think there's certain players that they need a little bit more help because maybe the pattern's more ingrained of how to shut the face. Mm-hmm. And there's different ways to do it. But if we're going to get into this position here, and I'll say, look, your left hand got a little bit underneath the handle. Your right hand's a little bit above it. Those hands are going to flip over. So now my left hand's above it. My right hand's below. And at least 50% of the time, that's enough. We get them out of this position up here. Yep. But then I will have other players that still want to get the thing open. And what I have them do is, and it doesn't follow well if you're right-handed to do it with your right hand or vice versa. But I can have a player focus on these knuckles of their left hand up in here, starting to work underneath the handle, or it's an old chestnut of getting the right hand up like you're going to wipe a table. Yeah. And now all of a sudden I can get that face. To square, and they can start seeing the ball.
Knuckles down, lead hand knuckles down is a big phrase I use quite often.
Yeah.
Does the same thing. It gives a player the image, when they feel it, when they recognize where their knuckles are in their normal swing, they're coming in this way over the top. My knuckles are pointing to the sky.
Yeah.
I can feel the difference in doing this, which is going to deliver more square path through impact, square face, and that gets the ball starting in line with the path much better.
Yeah. Yep. And then to kind of, at some point, you're going to have to fix the path as well, because now all of a sudden they're going to see the ball curving left. I think them seeing the ball curve left is the biggest impact on changing
Absolutely.
the path. Because now it doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't make
Right.
sense to go this way if I know the ball is going to curve that way.
Right.
Okay, so now all of a sudden that makes sense. But just a simple one I like to have them do is, well, if they put their arm out like this and just feel like you're gonna take a golf ball, and sometimes I'll have them throw it, but leave the left arm where it is, but throw the ball down the range. And all of a sudden, what's that hand doing? It doesn't make sense to go like this.
Correct.
So the hand squares. It also doesn't make sense to go out here to throw a ball. I'm not throwing it over there. I'm throwing it, out towards that flag.
Right.
So you do that a few times, and then put a golf club in your hand. You choke up on it a little bit, and just make that motion, almost like you're going to skip a stone on a pond.
Yeah.
Have them kick their legs in a little bit, and all of a sudden that path is coming from the inside.
I use that skipping stone analogy all the time. I actually will get the golf ball in the player's hand and say, this is a rock, let's skip it and let's see how you do. They're never going to come this way in trying to skip it. That's not a natural idea.
Nor would
They're going
they
to
go
come
that
in with the rotation, and that arm is going to extend down the line, and that's how I get them to feel an outward path more so. I also feel quite a bit that when we get that club face under control, the path dials in almost automatically.
Absolutely. I say it 100 times a week. If the face is going to be stable or consistently in a position relative to the path, then there's only one path that makes sense.
Right.
And when I get out of that pattern, and you want that an inside path with a square face, well, fix the face first. Now it only makes sense. So it does evolve pretty quickly to a path that's desirable.
Yeah. So, over the toppers, we got to make sure we're focused on that club face first, prioritize that, and then the path falls in behind.
100%.